All right, so some chain maintenance is the thing here. Not changing out the chain, I will have a video for that, but I've seen on Facebook, motorcycle groups and forums on, mainly it's the new riders, somebody who just got a motorcycle and they're like, okay, well, my chain's looking dirty, how do I clean it? Well, everybody has to start somewhere, so this is for them. A lot of chain manufacturers recommend to use one chemical. There are special chemicals out there that you can purchase from like RevZilla, Partzilla, or mainly any motorcycle online store, but this is the one that they recommend. It's actually pretty much the cheapest. You can go get a gallon of kerosene. Yes, regular odorless heater kerosene, for the outdoor heaters or those turbo heaters and stuff. Just go get some kerosene. It will not damage your chain. It'll clean it, okay? And you will need some brushes. You can get these set of 3 from pretty much any hardware store. You will not be using the steel. Do not use the steel brush. I recommend only using the brass and the nylon. In some cases, only use the nylon. But the brass one should be fine for a lot of chains. If it's a bare chain that doesn't have like a fancy finish as far as like a color or something like that, then you can use the brass one. Make sure not to scrub too hard in between the chain links you don't want to be messing up your O-rings. So lightly with the brass one, and then you can go ahead and scrub as hard as you want with the nylon. Now, we're going to go ahead and show you the last part you'll need of this, but you don't need it, but it really does help. It is a cheap little squirt bottle, $1 squirt bottle from a dollar store or Walmart, wherever you're going to go get that. This is the same one I used when I cleaned my chain the last time. Will not mess up the insides. The reason why I say get a cheap one is because you might want to just toss it, okay, because, well, I wouldn't use it for anything else after that point. Now, we're going to go ahead and put some kerosene inside the bottle and get to it. All right, so what I'm going to be doing is yes, I'm going to be using the chain from the raffle bike. Reason is because it's actually in horrible, dirty condition, and well, I'm going to be changing it out anyways once the build is wrapping up. So I'm going to go ahead and use this chain because my chain I keep really clean on my bike, and this one was already in pretty rough shape coming to me, so we're going to go ahead and use it. This white right here is actually a wax that I used right before I went to the dyno. Went ahead and did that so that way the chain has a little bit of lubrication on it. Now the great thing about using kerosene or getting odorless kerosene, because it's pretty much almost odorless. So when you make a mess right here, which I did put some painter's plastic down to catch most of the droplets and stuff that will be dropping down. Now I mean this stuff is pretty odorless, really. So I mean, we're going to be using a decent amount of it to clean this chain, which is nice. So if you're inside your garage or enclosed area, it's not going to be too, I guess, you're not going to get fumigated. You're not going to have tons of fumes that you're going to be smelling the whole time. So we're going to go ahead and open up our brushes. Now these are throwaway brushes because I'm not going to be using them again, minus the steel one and maybe the brass one, but I'll probably be throwing both the brass and the nylon one away. Not using the steel, guys, so I'm going to go ahead and toss that over there, not using it. And just a little close-up of that chain, showing how nasty it is, how caked it is with just some dirt, grime, some chain wax. And we'll be cleaning this up pretty nicely, guys. I put down a cheap throwaway rag right here, and also I wanted to use a little bit of a white rag. That way it can show you how much grime that this thing's going to be actually removing. So I'm going to try to make this into more of a stream than a spray. That way we can isolate and, aim where we want to do this. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'll put it in neutral, guys. So that way it can rotate freely and I can just use my hand to turn everything. Get some... a little less. There we go. So we're just going to go ahead and start spraying it around. And yeah, you're going to get some on your chain or your wheels. That's not going to be a big issue, okay? It's just kerosene. Shouldn't damage your the rubber at all on your wheels or your tires. It shouldn't damage your paint at all either. Now the thing about kerosene is what it does is it dissolves the wax or the lubricants that you actually use. I use chain wax on my chains. It works really nicely because it does not fling off onto your wheels. That right there is overspray when I was in a hurry to get it to the dyno. But I mean, what it does is it basically starts to dissolve the lubricants and the chain wax that you have on here already, as well as bring up some of the dirt and particulates from the inside of the chain, almost like a detergent. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep doing this. Keep it as close as I can to the chain so I can minimize overspray. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get the sprocket some too, because I have some of the wax and the chain coat or the lubricants on here already. I'm going to go ahead and just hit these bolts real quick too. And if you can actually see the grime drop off. Kerosene is key here. I like this stuff. And let me just show you what I'm talking about. You can just see the dirt and grime fall off the chain. And also guys, remember this stuff is pretty cheap, so don't be stingy with it. Go ahead, spray it down, but just make sure that when you're cleaning up that you do remove all of the kerosene off your chain and off your bike and stuff, okay? But for real, go ahead and use plenty of it, it's cheap. Now when I'm gonna use the brash brush, I'm gonna be using it on the face, right here, and right here on just the center of the chain. I'm not going to be using on the gap right here because this is a sealed chain, so I don't want any damage to occur to the O-rings from the brass. So I don't want to use the brass on the actual grooves right here in between the links, only the center and the facing sides. For the inside right here, while I'm scrubbing, I'm going to be using the nylon brush. Of course, this is to keep your chain alive as long as possible using this one on the O-rings. All right, so I went ahead and sprayed it a little more. Oh my goodness, look at that farmer's tan. Oh, I don't get out enough, guys. Help me. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and start scrubbing this. So from there, just grab a rag. This is one that I'm not going to be using again. I need to find my old rags actually. But we're going to go ahead and wipe off the chain, okay? Go ahead and get all that excess off. So you see, it's still cleaning right now while we're wiping this off. This is a dirty job. You see how it's leaking over there from the front sprocket and all this. So don't get me wrong, it can be dirty, but it's cheap if you do it right. Okay, so we're actually done scrubbing it. We're done drying it. You want to make sure that it's dry to the touch. So you're doing this and there's no kerosene coming off. You can't feel it. Definitely can't smell it. So now we're going to re-lubricate or wax depending on what you're using. Now the thing about this chain is that it's a sealed chain, all right? So it doesn't require as much lubricant or oil, whatever you're using. All right, so now that you've cleaned it all off and everything, what I like to do is go ahead and put a piece of cardboard right here, something smaller so it doesn't obstruct the wheel from turning, but that way you keep your wheel nice and clean from what you're about to put on there. Another thing is go ahead and give it a good shake, all right? You want all the ingredients to go ahead and be well shaken up. So I use Bel Ray. It's not too bad actually. This one was $16.25, but the thing is this will last, you know, the life of the chain most likely. As long as you're cleaning it and everything and lightly lubricating, a sealed chain doesn't take a lot. So I'm gonna go ahead and do just right here around the sprocket while turning it. Then we're gonna do the face and the back side and call it good. All right, that's enough there. And then the back side, I like to hit it from the back, facing this way. That way I know I'm actually hitting it and I don't get it on my wheel. There we go. All right, we are done now. We have cleaned the chain. We have now well lubricated it as well. And we also have a clean wheel. All right, that kerosene does a pretty good job without damaging components or paint. So if you guys like what you see, go ahead and like, subscribe, or share. Any of those things really do help. But also, I might suggest that you go over and watch some of those raffle build videos, because we have a supercharged motorcycle that is getting built pretty dang good. And, well, somebody out there is going to be winning that here shortly. And it's all for a good cause, guys, going to charity. So, catch you later.